Hi lovelies, and welcome back to this channel. If you're new here, my name is Belinda Strand and here is Bellistic Gist. Don't forget to please subscribe to this channel, turn on notifications so that anytime I upload a video, you will be the first person to be notified. And to my returning subscribers, thank you so much for all the love and support. To those people that share my videos and educate I, you guys are the real MVP. Alright lovelies, let's dive into this video. So I came across this video on my For You page on TikTok and I actually find it super informative, educative and relevant. And you guys know how we do it here. Where this, pine-colored woman who happens to be a Russian woman give reasons why black women are so underrated in America. Like, guys, she went ahead to give so many reasons why she feels so, and she's calling these folks out to do better. I'm just gonna roll her clip as well as some of other stitches I was able to put together. Please leave me your own thoughts in the comment section of what you think of this video, and let's dive into it.
Seeing a beautiful black woman with a white man will almost certainly trigger a white woman's main character syndrome every time. If you're a white woman that follows me right now, you better not be getting that thumb ready to scroll, please. Because that was embarrassing what happened on that other video. Don't do that. Stay and listen. Like you would want a man to stay and listen when I talk shit about men. Be the change you want to see in the world, okay? Now, you may have heard me talk about main character syndrome in men, which is the idea that they are the main character and that everybody else around them fits into that narrative somehow, either as the sidekick, either as the villain, the mentor, etc. And when you are raised in a hierarchy, especially, again, a hierarchy that involves race as explicitly as the American hierarchy involves it, it's turtles all the way down. It's the same thing all the way down. While white men definitely do have the most amount and like the most egregious case of main character syndrome, everybody who participates in the American hierarchy, in the American caste system, all of these behaviors and actions, like they trickle all the way down. Yes, white men have like this very intense main character syndrome, but white women have also been given a very specific narrative about their place in that situation. And so they also have main character syndrome. That's where when a white man marries a black woman, it triggers white women's narrative. It triggers the narrative that something was taken from them because their whole life they grew up watching white Disney princesses end up with a white Disney prince. So that's how it goes. That's how you play the game, right? You take this doll and they go together, and that's how you play the game. What's triggered is that you are not supposed to be part of that narrative in any way as a black woman. You are not supposed to reap the benefits of being this close to the top of the hierarchy, right? It's almost like they see it in their eyes as like you've skipped a few steps on the ladder and you've ended up like, in a place that they could have gotten. It's kind of like that problem that white people have with affirmative action, right? It's like, well, what if there was a white person that was qualified to take that spot? And you just took it from them. Like, don't you feel bad? And this is why affirmative action is needed, because people think like that. Like, you just told on yourself very loudly. But that's what it is. They are also confused because a white man isn't supposed to want a black woman. Like, a white man is also supposed to be trained to want a white woman, to want the aesthetic, right, of a white woman. And just for everybody wondering how I know these things, it's education. Yes, some of it is observation, but it's reading books by black educators, but especially black women. I do Audible a lot. Like, I actually have read a lot more than this, but I do a lot of Audible, so I'll just screenshot some recommendations for any other white people wanting to get educated. You can know these things in your heart. You can know things are wrong in your heart, but to actually be able to educate others or like put words to these things that actually like make sense, you have to listen to black women, especially because they have all the nuance. Okay, all the nuance is there. This is from Me and White Supremacy by Layla F. Saad. She says black women around the world experience this white gaze lens of being seen as angry, strong, aggressive, and wild, as well as being believed to be lesser in intelligence and beauty than other women. They are seen as either the aggressive adversary, the sassy sidekick, or the deferent devotee to white women. So of course a white woman is triggered and confused when you are chosen by a white man who was supposed to be the prince to her princess in her fairy tale, right? Like, it immediately makes sense. She's like, how can you like this aggressive and wild, angry and strong woman when I was taught my whole life that to get a man, I have to be all the opposite of these things? Obviously, the black woman can be whatever she is. Like, she's not obviously automatically angry or wild or any of these things. You don't know that. But in your mind as a white woman, that's what you assume, because these stereotypes have been so readily fed to you. And not only that, but you have been taught to be the opposite of these stereotypes. So to a white man, it should have been a no-brainer based on the stereotypes. And at the end of the day, what's upsetting, again, is that they have worked really hard for this certain thing that was pretty much supposed to be all but guaranteed to be theirs. And here comes somebody basically cutting in line. You are never supposed to surpass them on the ladder up to the top, because white women are supposed to get the opportunity first. Not only that, but a white man is never supposed to pick a black woman. You know, that's why so many white women are such pick-me's, because they were literally taught that men will pick you if you do certain things. And they actually put stock into that and grew up training themselves to do these things, to be unproblematic, to be very easygoing, keep sweet, pray and obey, whatever, right? Now they're surprised because their expectations have been subverted, right? It's that because whiteness comes from a lack mentality, it's that liking anything about a black woman is automatically an insult to a white woman. A crazy way to think, obviously, but nevertheless it happens. And the emulation stems from kind of the exact same place. White women have always been told that they are the beauty standard. It was like Marilyn Monroe, like if the sex symbol was always a white woman. But once the capitalists figured out they could exploit black women for that too, they were like, oh great, we'll just do that. Nobody thought about how that would affect the white women, who have always been told that them being the highest standard of beauty is safe. It's safe and sound. Like no black woman will ever be considered as beautiful as like a mediocre looking white woman. Those days were past, right? All of a sudden. And all of a sudden they started being like, oh wait, there's something I'm missing out on. And it's this whole like, that should have been me. That should have been me and not you. Basically that idea, right? And there's also what's hard coded into capitalism, which is basically you either compete or you get left behind. So that's why all the Kardashian sisters went and got everything done like the way that they did. Because black women can be sex symbols now too. And white women raced, right? So they said, oh, so if these are the features that men want, then I will give them that. Me, a white woman. That's basically where I think that comes from. This part is for the white women that are, I trust, better still be here. Why do you need to look at anti-blackness against black women? It is my belief that the rising and empowerment of black women is one of the biggest threats to white supremacy. Knowing this, white supremacy works particularly hard to stifle, undermine, marginalize, demonize, and harm black women. All anti-blackness, regardless of who it is directed at, paints black people as inferior in all ways, except the ways that can be used by non-black people for non-black gain. When it comes to black women, this treatment is compounded by the added marginalization faced under sexism. From negative stereotypes that trap black women in a one-dimensional imagination to the way that black women's bodies have been treated less like the bodies of human beings and more like the bodies of animals. Anti-blackness against black women is killing black women, both physically and psychologically. So if you call yourself a feminist, you want to call yourself a feminist, you want to rah-rah under my videos where I talk shit about men, but you don't want to look at this, you don't want to look at anti-blackness against black women, you should be fucking ashamed of yourself. You're no better than Susan B. Anthony and her little minions, that when they were given their rights, they took them and ran with them. And they left the black women that worked with, that protested with, that marched with, did everything with. These white women left them in the dust to fend for themselves. They took their rights and they ran. And I'll be damned if anybody following me thinks it's going to be like that. It's not going to be like that, if I can help it. That's embarrassing. That's a shameful moment in American history, and in American women's history especially. How you are in relationships with and to black women speaks volumes about where you are in your anti-racism journey. Do you feel like you cannot relate to black women? Do you covet black women's physical attributes yet secretly feel disdain for them as human beings? Do you assume black women are less educated, less affluent, and less capable than you? These are just some signs that you harbor anti-blackness against black women. This anti-blackness needs to be excavated, confronted, and owned in order for you to practice anti-racism. So let's get to work. It's something that we all have to continuously practice and reflect on, myself included. I may be from Ukraine, but America will definitely do a number on you. Like I said, it really forces you into this hierarchy, whether you want to be part of it or not. You cannot just go with the flow. You have to actively fight back against it. That's what people mean when they say, like, you need to educate yourself. They don't mean you're a horrible racist and you need to blah, blah, blah. What people mean when they say you need to get educated is you need to start swimming upstream. You need to stop going with the flow, and you need to use your muscles to head upstream, because upstream is the only way to solve all of these problems. You need to go as far upstream as you can. So if you want to abolish one system of power, you have to go upstream and abolish them all. And the only way to do that is to get educated, because otherwise people, this world literally tells you, this country especially, but this world tells you in so many ways that it's okay to be racist. It excuses so much racist behavior that people don't even know they're doing it. And then when they're confronted with it, they feel ashamed and they freak out. Don't feel ashamed. Feel empowered. Feel empowered that you can be educated and that you can stop doing this shit. Okay? Let's get to work. Godspeed.
Seriously, ladies, I totally understand where she is, coming from. This main character syndrome in white women's most, especially when they see black women with a white man, they become so angry. Will I call it anger or jealousy or like, okay, this woman is actually not deserving. She is not supposed to be in this position. This position is, something that is not befitting her. She was supposed to be on the next. That's why, the story between Megan and the husband and all of them makes a lot of these pine-colored women so angry. I wouldn't even forget what really happened during Meghan and Harry's visit to Africa. A lot of these pine-colored women took it upon themselves on their social media, trying to castigate her, camp for her, spew all manner of things in her, trying to devalue her. Even anything she put on, they see it as if she is unbefitting because they see the position she's occupying as something that is not befitting.
But white women
is something that is not meant for a black person, not even minding that she is actually a biracial, but they don't mind. Since you are not, sparkling white, snow white and all of that, the position at which she's occupied is something that is triggering these women. They see black women as people that, okay, you are just meant to maybe date low, you are not supposed to date high profile person, or you are not supposed to get a certain job, you are not supposed to be in a certain position. I, as a pan-colored person, I am more deserving than you because you are a black person or you are a black woman. I am supposed to be occupying a safe position which you as a black woman is not supposed to occupy. This is why sometimes when they see, black women and all of that succeeding, they become so angry, agitated, and try to, pull her down. That is why a lot of, black women have problems with the corporate jobs. That is why a lot of them are not comfortable with the corporate jobs because these pan-colored women will just make your life so miserable because they all believe that you are not supposed to occupy a certain position. You are not supposed to occupy, this position.
I do Audible a lot. I actually have
the thing is that when they see you in a certain position that is giving high level quality and all of that, they become so angry because they feel that they are the main people, like they center themselves. We are the ones that were supposed to be there. You as a black person, you are supposed to be underneath us. This is the problem.
Okay, all the
seriously.
This is from me.
That is why when colored women
she says black women around the world experience
black women
this white gaze lens of being
white
seen
men,
as angry, strong, aggressive, and wild.
Most of these black women are able to express themselves. They are able to speak up. They are able to I want to express myself. But them as a pan-colored person or a pan-colored woman dating a white woman, they have been taught to remain calm. You are not supposed to talk back. You're supposed to just remain calm and take any shenanigans. So when they see this black women trying to with these high profile men and try to be in control and speaking up and all of that, they also become so why is she supposed to be there? Why is it I can't do whatever she is doing? And I'm in a better position to do better.
But in your mind as a white woman, that's what you assume. Because these stereotypes have been so readily fed to you,
anything you can call it.
But you have been taught
This is
to
the
be
main
the
character
opposite
syndrome.
of these stereotypes.
Like when I saw this woman coming from a Russian, I was like, this lady is actually
and at the end of the day, what's upsetting
anyway, lovelies, why not just leave me your own thoughts in the comment section of what you think of this video. And do not forget that we do not support any form of bullying, harassment, or whatsoever. We just here for educational and informative purposes. So please subscribe to this channel if you're yet to do that, like, and I will see you when we upload the next one.